Everyone to Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. It is the first episode of the Mike Strauss Show for September. We're already in September. School starts this week. College football season started. NFL starts this week. My entire family's sick. I have been in and out of energy. Earlier today, my plan was not to have the show. But a nap kind of boosted my energy enough to where I think I can get through this and we can hang out and talk, because there's a lot I want to talk about, but I want to make sure I give you everything you deserve when you tune into this show. Dirt Fan Racing. Before we get into that, Dirt Fan Racing, good evening. Glad to see you here. Everyone else who has tuned in, as always, thank you very much. JJ Krausen, thank you. Real Elite, thank you. Hello. We are here. Before we begin, if you're on Twitch, make sure you follow. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. Leave a like on this video. I'm not broadcasting on Twitter today. There's a good chance we'll be leaving Twitter soon. I'm trying to build up on Threads and Blue Sky. I am Mike Straw Media on both of those platforms. So please, if you will, follow and join there. If you can and you are on Twitter right now and you're tuned in, go retweet and share and let people know, because they like to suppress. They like to suppress anything linking out elsewhere. So if you can go and retweet what we have here, that would be greatly appreciated as we get the show started. So the first thing we're going to talk about today, the very first thing I want to talk about, the Madden 25 title update dropped this morning. We knew it would be coming before the start of the regular season. I talked about it last week on the show. And it was a big update. Big update. Playbook updates. Gameplay. A lot. Franchise, superstar. Head-to-head. Presentation. New jerseys, player likenesses, things like that. But it's more about what isn't in this update than what is in this update. And that's got a lot of people mad. A lot of people mad, including myself. And I don't even know if I want to say mad, right? I don't know if I want to say mad. It's more of a case I want to say frustrated, disappointed. I just don't know why. So, why am I mad? Dirt Fan, is Madden 25 different? In a lot of ways, yes. In a lot of ways, it's worse. And it depends on how you look at it. I'll clear that up in a minute. Let's go through the update, and then I'll give you my reason where I think in a lot of ways it's better, in a lot of ways it's worse. So, we have the Madden update. We have this. A lot of things were updated. Playbooks, player likenesses. You know, they got Jody Rhodes, or Cody Burrow, the real Slim Burrow, whatever you want to call him. They got him in. They got his likeness with blonde hair, all that fun stuff. Everything good. So we got some things like that. Switch stick delay options. They added the revamped passing mechanic that was in college football that I love, that a lot of people love. They brought that over from college football after seeing the positivity it made in there. Speed boost. They fixed an issue where you were getting speed boost using custom stems and smart routing. So that's good. Updated likenesses, like I said. But before we get into what they didn't do with gameplay, let's talk about real quick what they did do with gameplay. So they updated to make the online kick meter default to the new multimeter in online. as well as the default and hospitality suite. Good. Tuning to decrease pass speed when equipped with velocity-based passing abilities. Tuning to increase defensive lineman chance to sniff out a slip screen play. I felt like that wasn't needed. I felt like that was fine. Issue where kick returners were not able to reach the ball. Updated added pursuit logic to further differentiate high pursuit rated players, improving pursuit angles for the better players. Cool. Make the better players stand out. I love that. I love it a lot. Ball placement to the 30, fixed an issue that allowed a free rusher on specific blitz setup out of a nickel 2-4 double mug and out of $32 overload. Tuning to blocking, interactions, tuning to decrease illegal man downfield penalties. Good, because oh my god, was this awful. Animation, physics-based tackling. But now we get... So a bunch of things there. But again, it's what wasn't there. We have clearly heard players' desire for improvements to pass coverage, and the team is working on a significant set of improvements in a future title update. So they do one big title update a month. We might get a small one, but they usually do one big title update a month. And we have a situation where the biggest problems weren't in this title update. So the incoming improvements being investigated. Investigated. Let's say that again. Investigated. Okay? The biggest improvements being investigated. Hard flats. Cover threes deep zone. Match coverage checks versus bunch sets. Press animations, pass velocity ability tuning, zone drop catch adjustments, and in addition to pass coverage, we also have improvements on the way for kickoff exploits, blitzes, AI play calling, and spin move tuning. The biggest problems with this game, and whether you've watched it, oh, this is where I'm going to get really frustrated. Whether you were watching the MCS, you are playing online, you are doing much of anything involved with online Madden or just Madden in general, the biggest problem right now is defense. You can't play it. Where is the tweet? This was a big old problem that pissed me off. And I'm going to put it on the screen because we've seen it and I'm tired of it. And it's beyond frustrating. Here we go. Let's pull this over here real quick. Look at that score. A spot in a live tournament. They're playing for $5,000, and that was the defense. That was the score. There is no defense. Madden 25 is so broken. There is absolutely no defense at this point. None. And I don't know what can be done about it at this right now without this title update. I don't think there's anything that can be done without this title update. But this is what we have right now. We have these types of games. 77-70. What? Because I talked about it last week when I had Mills on the show. If you missed that interview, you can check it out on demand on YouTube. It's part of a chat with series I'll be doing. It's to the point playing online, playing against anybody, CPU. If I'm down, I need a field goal. They kick a field goal with 20 seconds left, whatever it may be. If I'm down, I'm not worried. No matter what team I am, whether I'm Carolina, whether I'm Chicago, whether I'm Buffalo, whether I'm Detroit, Washington, Seattle, it doesn't matter. I know I'm picking up the yards I need to get a shot. Solely because it's so broken, all I have to do is do a post route and the slant, and I'm good. Or the slant, sorry. Do a post route in the slot, and I'm good. Every time. And I didn't record. What I got to do is I record a lot of these games that I play, like with my nephew and play online with people. Just to have a backlog if something really comes up. If something really comes up. And I have this... John. Welcome, John. Thanks for tuning in. But I have this thing, no matter what, you can just run a couple different types of routes, and unless they're manually following that guy you're targeting, you're gonna pick it up every single time. Every single time you're gonna pick it up. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Every single time. It's going to be picked up. And it's frustrating to see that no matter what you try and do, you're going to have that. No matter what. Black Olympus, thank you for the follow. Thank you very much. Yeah, it doesn't matter, and it's frustrating. So aside from that, aside from, and if you have any questions or anything like that, like Dirt Fan did in the chat, I answer them all usually, unless they're relevant to what we're talking about at this point in the show. I will answer all of them at the end. James, I have a lot to talk about on that. You're not gonna like it. I mean, you might agree, or you might see why I feel that way. So, fix an issue with the import draft class, good. Fix an issue where wrong player models will display, and then superstar profanity filter when importing players. I don't know. I got to check and see if they fix things where not being able to have the name Ben. Nothing about Team Builder was changed with this. We have incorrect helmets, but nothing about Team Builder with, naming how your city is and things like that. None of that. I haven't played an online game yet, but I need to check Accelerated Clock because that was broken beyond belief. It just didn't work. Nothing like that. The inability to preview your uniforms. The inability on Twitch, by the way, we do have an ad break coming up in about a minute. If you don't want to skip it, Nitro or Twitch Turbo, or if you have Prime sub, I'm not saying you ever have to subscribe, but you can subscribe using your Twitch Prime if you don't already. But absolutely nothing regarding Team Builder issues, nothing regarding accelerated play clock, nothing regarding dropping frame rates in between plays, like frame rates when it comes. Nothing regarding when you do a fake snap and it takes forever to get back to be able to snap the ball. None of those things were fixed. And what I'm going to do is put these all together in a package, and I'm going to pass them off to my contact at EA and see what they think. See what they got to say. Because there's a lot that wasn't done that really bothers me to no avail. A lot that wasn't done. And it's frustrating. And before we move on, Dirt Fan, I will get to your question. Is Madden 25 different than Madden 24? In a lot of ways, yes. Presentation, for the most part, is better in Madden 25. I did mute the play-by-play because I don't like how Mike Tirico sounds robotic. Kate Scott sounds too overzealous to be there. Just a little bit too overzealous. On franchise mode, the draft presentation is nice. Still some things like you can't just quickly view who you drafted or who's been drafted. You can't just quickly view that, and it's frustrating. There is a lot with gameplay I do like. How running backs feel is some of the best it's ever felt to me. how running backs feel. The running game in general it feels really good. But defense is a joke. It's an absolute joke. As someone who loves defense in Madden, and I feel like I'm a better player, if I can play defense in Madden, I feel like I'm a much better player than if I'm good on offense. You know what I mean? If I can play defense, if I can make a stop, come up with that big interception, that big tackle, keep them short, force a punt, force a turnover, I feel like I'm a much better player than if I'm not doing that. That's where I'm at. That's how I feel. So it's a mixed bag. Right now, if you haven't made the jump, if you have not made the jump to Madden 25 from 24, I'd wait. I would 100% hold off on making the jump from Madden 25 to 24. But if you really want to try it and see for yourself, sign up for the EA Play, pay the $6 for 1 month, and you get 10 hours to play. That will give you more than enough time to know how it feels. I wouldn't do Superstar mode with the trial. I wouldn't do franchise mode with the trial. I'd get on the field and see how you like the gameplay first. And that will help you a lot in determining what you want to do there. Okay, enough Madden. Let's move on. Subject number 2, Concord shutting down. After just 11 days on the market, Concord is shutting down. And it's not surprising whatsoever to see this game get shut down. It's not surprising because no one wanted, for whatever your thoughts are, no matter how the gameplay was or felt, a game 8 years about in development, coming out, a 5v5 hero shooter, no one wanted. No one wanted. I didn't want it. And it was clear, I know I don't speak for everybody, but it was clear the players didn't want it. On Steam, on its launch day and launch weekend, the biggest time for a new game, capped out at less than 700 concurrent players. Less than 700 concurrent players. And then it just continued to drop and drop and drop. And at the time they announced the shutdown on Tuesday, it was pulling in less than 100. We'll talk about that, James. We will talk about that. It was pulling down to less than 100 players, around 40 at one point, 30. It's a live service game. It's a live service game, and they broke it. They botched it in every sense of the word. Some reports came out that they sold 25,000 copies of the game. I find it hard to believe it was that high. Just using in my head. If you never surpassed 1,000 concurrents on PC, that would mean that you had to have done like 24,000 on PlayStation, and I don't think it did that much on PlayStation. If at most it was the 147th best-selling game. It just wasn't. There's no way. And then you want to put into perspective, Dirt Fan, you'll get a kick out of this. You want to put into perspective just how bad Concord's launch was. Launch week, there were more people playing games like NASCAR Heat 5 on Steam than there were playing Concord. NASCAR Heat 5 launched July of 2020. And there were more people playing that than Concord. Just has not been good. Was not good. They botched it in every way. And it just wasn't a good situation to be in overall. Wasn't a dude. Wasn't a dude. Sorry. Got distracted by a message. Wasn't a good thing. I don't get where they come back. They say they're doing it and they're going to... This is what he said. Ryan Ellis, the game director, goes, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Yeah, it didn't. To be honest, to be fair, that some of the people who played it did really like the gameplay. It just feels old and stale. And it's not... And we talked about, like, Marvel Rivals. That game is going to sell because of the Marvel characters associated with it, not because it's a hero shooter. Deadlock is a hero MOBA shooter. That's going to do well because it's Valve, and it's going to be free to play. This was a game you were asking for $40 to buy. You should have made it free to play after the open beta had less than the beta for the people who pre-ordered the game. Because I guarantee you there are people who pre-ordered the game, played that beta, and canceled their pre-order. That's what ended up happening with that first beta. Then the open beta had less people than that, and you should have saw the writing on the wall and said we should have went free to play, and they didn't even do that. Didn't even do that. So now they say that it's going to... Sony and Firewalk Studios are going to explore options, including those that would better reach our players. They might try and come back free to play, but I don't see it working, and I don't see this game ever coming back. There's no way. By the time it does eventually come back, if it tries, it's going to be even more outdated, and there's going to be even different games out there. It's not coming back. End of story. For me, I loaded it up. I played one game. Like, I bought it on Steam. Played one game. Immediately uninstalled. Got a refund. It's nothing. It was nothing for me to write home about. Nothing. If I want to play a hero shooter, I'll probably just go play Overwatch. Or worse comes to worse, I'll play Team Fortress 2. It's just not one of the games. Not one of those things where you're going to ever find a need for another game like that. Unless you do something totally unheard of and a mechanic that no one has ever seen that's going to be a game changer, it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. End of story. End of story there. Okay. So the biggest topic of the day, before we get into questions, and this wasn't going to be a long show because of meh, but the biggest topic of the day, and that's the Black Ops 6 beta. If you are tuning in and you won one of the keys that I was giving away on Sunday, congratulations. Or Saturday and Sunday, congratulations. I hope you enjoyed them. It's still, the early access beta goes till tomorrow, and then it comes back the 6th through the 9th. I've been playing it since the 30th, and I have my thoughts, and I want your thoughts too. This isn't just going to be a situation where Mike was right, everybody else is dumb, everybody else is wrong. I want everybody's thoughts on the beta. And I'll give you my thoughts and some of the thoughts of some of my colleagues at Insider Gaming. So, playing it right away, I have no issue with skill-based matchmaking. I am one of those people that does not. The only thing I do wish the more you stayed in the lobby, one of the things I love is you find a lobby you really like, you gel with the people, you stay in that lobby rather than this. But I don't have a problem with skill-based matchmaking. It was hilarious watching COD Next and watching these streamers rage quit a public event to try and find easier lobbies. Absolutely pathetic, absolutely hysterical. You watch these people cry and complain that the lobbies they're in are too hard, and they want to just go to easy lobbies where they can pad their stats, look cool for streams, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and where's the fun in that? You're just going to rage quit and cry and complain, and that's all you're going to do. That's all they're going to do. And I don't like it. I don't get it. It's dumb. But for me, the maps I liked, for the maps they have in the beta, I do like. Drop my pencil. The shotgun. Guns. I have always been a fan of shotguns. And the last few years, I've found shotguns to be underwhelming, underpowered, basically nerfed and useless, right? It's kind of how I felt. And I felt playing this beta, and I hope they don't change it and nerf it before launch. I feel like shotguns are back in a big way. I feel like they're back in a big way. And I like that. There were a few occasions where I was playing and I was in Discord and I was streaming to a couple of people who didn't have it and they wanted to see it, where they'd watch me blast a guy a couple times with a shotgun, just boom, boom, only for him to turn around and shoot me and kill me. I don't know if the time to kill is messed up. I don't know if it's a hitbox thing. But if you get hit markers and you blast a guy pretty much almost point blank, boom, boom, twice with a shotgun, you should kill him. That happened a few times. Not enough to where I'd call it a problem, but it happened a few times. Every gun felt nice, though. Every gun I liked. Every gun. What I don't like, and it's what they are selling the most for this year, is Omni Movement. I think it's a joke. I think it's awful. It turns multiplayer, like traditional multiplayer gameplay, it turns it into a clown show for me. A complete clown show. Most matches are just people out there diving and sliding around like they're on a damn slip and slide in the middle of summer. And this might be a case of people wanting to get used to the new system and just have fun because it's a beta. I can see that happening or being the situation. But then I don't like how people just dive around. I don't like it at all. James Bond. That is another thing I don't like. Identifying bodies, and my colleague Grant Taylor Hill at Insider Gaming had this in his thoughts, and he hit the nail on the head too. Identifying bodies as a player is really frustrating, and it shouldn't be that way. Like, if you're laying down an Omni Movement, you can look like a dead body at certain angles, and it makes it really tough to spot enemies in the middle of like close quarter areas or high traffic areas or anything like that. Like, you could literally lay in a corner like this, like this, but you're not dead in the game. You're alive. So then you watch somebody walk by and go, boom, done. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. Because to me, that's not a skill thing. That's a terrible system thing. If you do it, fine. Take advantage of the mechanic that's there. I'll admit I camp. Especially when I'm on a nice run and I'm close to something. Oh, man, pitch me a tent, get me a campfire, and set me up. But if they found a way to be like, no, you're not, you can't camp anymore, okay, then I learned not to. Or I don't. But the identifying bodies, not a fan. It was already getting to the point where you kind of felt what the meta weapons are. I'm not a fan of metas, and I will never go for the meta build in any game, meta weapons in any game, or anything like that. I don't like meta anything. I don't like it at all. Trying to make a build because this is what these people say is the best way to do something, and it's the meta throughout the game. To me, it takes away the fun of the game. But my biggest problem, again, is the Omni Movement. I don't like it. I think it needs to be tuned in some way. I want to sit down and really, rather than just say it needs to tune and be changed, I do want to actually put some thought into how I think. Granted, they're not going to do it based on what I say. I'm not Ninja, I'm not Tim the Tap Man, I'm not somebody huge where my opinion matters like that. But I have been around this industry long enough, and I have what I think works and what I think doesn't. And Omni Movement right now just feels like a bunch of dolphins trying to flop around out of the water. It looks ridiculous. Ridiculous. But that's my thought on it. I do want to know your thoughts. Also, Hardpoint, awful game mode. Absolutely hate it. But I've always hated it. I've always hated Hardpoint. I don't like that mode at all. Hardpoint, King of the Hill, those types of mode. I like the closest I'll get to something like that is Domination, but I'm a Domination, Team Deathmatch, Search and Destroy type of person. I'll do some free-for-all every now and then, but I'm really bad at it. Domination, I like running around with an SMG or a shotgun and capturing as much. I am a capture fiend. I am an objective-based player. Don't really care about my KD if it doesn't matter to the mode. So Domination, I just love. I had a game of Domination though where I had 2 captures because they never captured 2 of the flags. So when we weren't even going for C, we just held A and B the whole game. The whole game we held A and B, and I had 2 captures, A and B, and we never. And I'm like, this is boring. I don't mind Scud. I don't mind Scud at all. I'm really interested in some of the other maps. Scud I like, depending on where you go. I don't usually go to the central area. I like to stay in, if you're looking at the mini-map, I like to stay in that bottom, for the most part. If it's Domination, I'm going to run around. But if I'm playing if I'm playing Team Deathmatch, I'm going to stay, you know what, let me load up the map here. When I'm playing Scud, I'm going to stay about here. I rarely found myself ever going here unless I spawned there. But if I spawned here, I usually found myself staying right here. And it worked. So like when I say I camp, it's not like I'm putting myself like right in this spot here and not moving, or I'm hiding behind this canister here and not moving. I am literally just, I basically cut a map in half for me as much as I can, and I stay in that half of the map. I don't go through the if I'm over here and I'm trapped in, if it's Domination, I'm going everywhere. But if it's Team Deathmatch and I have my say, I'm staying on that side of the map. That's what I'm doing. That is exactly what I'm doing. The X4M, really good gun. I enjoy that gun, but the shotgun I'm having a blast with. Shotgun I'm having an absolute blast with. Okay. Let's get to questions. And just because we're at the questions doesn't mean we're going to wrap it up. We're going to just keep talking. I got through what I needed to talk about this week. I wanted to see how my energy was and get through what I had to get through. But I do want to answer your questions. Dirt racing fan. Do you think the NASCAR franchise is depending on iRacing and Monster Games to fix the franchise? Also, Monster and iRacing, do you think the World of Outlaws will become a franchise? First, on fixing the franchise, NASCAR has all the patience in the world and all the confidence in the world in iRacing and Monster Games that they're not putting any extra pressure on these guys. They're not doing it at all. Monster World of Outlaws game becoming a franchise? Yeah, I see it. I do see it because we do have the new game coming out this month. And by a franchise, I think we're looking at an every couple years type of thing. The first one did really well, though. The first one did really well. Got them in, and it had a lot of good feedback. This one, I expect the same. The only thing that I think stops it from becoming a true franchise is how good the NASCAR game does when it comes out. Because it might get to the point where they're like, all right, NASCAR did so damn well, we're taking this stuff here, and we're bringing it over to NASCAR. What I would like to see, this is just me spitballing, sorry. I would really like to see NASCAR, the NASCAR game and World of Outlaws merge eventually into one, to where you choose your path and you can start in the sprint cars and move your way then into stock, or you can be a stock car driver driving in the Xfinity Series, driving in the Cup Series, whatever, Craftsman truck, and then you have an off weekend or you decide to ride in sprint cars on Thursday. Exactly, kind of like a Dirt to Daytona. I would like to see it get back to that. I would love to see it get back to that, but it's not once you leave the dirt, you're done. Like NASCAR Heat, they had that dirt series and stuff that you would start at, but once you left, you're done. Not something like that, but where even if you leave, you can go back when you want for a race or two here. You negotiate into your contracts. Again, I don't think that's going to happen, but it would be a really cool feature. Chris 1928, do you know anything more about the presentation of NHL pregame intro and something like that? So yeah, we already know about the scoreboard. That was a cool one. I was really happy about that. A lot of people were like, we wish we had the logos on it. I'm cool with what it has. Gives that old school television feel. Like the old MSG, the old Fox, old ESPN, old like Empire Sports. Things like that. Presentation. They are doing a lot of graphic overlays, updates. I do believe goal horns are getting an update. I don't know how many of them, but I do believe goal horns will be getting updates. Obviously, James Cebulski is back as play-by-play. I don't know anything about the pregame intros. I have asked, but no one has answered about pregame intros. I would love for them to be back in some sort of way, but I just don't know. But I'm trying to find out. Obviously, we were supposed to have the gameplay reveal last Friday. That didn't happen because of the tragedy, the senseless, stupid tragedy with the Gaudreau brothers, Johnny and Matthew, being killed by an asshole drunk driver. So that set that back. Rightfully so. I would have made the same call 100 times out of 100. And I don't know, it pushed things back. I don't know for how long, maybe like a week or so. But that sucks. That sucked so much. And that, real quick, this isn't gaming related. Ted, I'll get to you in a second. This isn't gaming related, but when I was the Gaudreau situation, we had that guy post out something. I'm not 100% sure. One, if you're claiming to be a journalist, you don't do something 100% sure. As soon as I got the information, now I do coverage. I'm picking back up this year with my hockey coverage at twsn.net. Starting next week, we have our division previews coming up. But I talked to so many people. I had messages out to police departments, sources around the team, players. It was about 12:30 when I got confirmation that it was real. I was not, I got enough confirmation to be able to run it. Another great reporter did a lot of great work, Elaine Shercliffe. I'm a rain dancer on Twitter. Go follow her, please. She did a lot of great damn work. The right way. And I believe in doing it the right way when it comes to something like this. But it was about 12:30, 1 o'clock, I got confirmation that it was true. I could have put a story up. I could have done anything. Not my place. There's certain situations where as a reporter, it's not my place. Like if I witnessed it and I'm there and but I feel like something that, especially there's players that don't know, team doesn't know, they're gathering information. A reporter should not be the one to break that news. The team and their family should be the one to break that news. So I could have broken it, but I didn't. And it's just about being responsible with your reporting. The speculation, the people who posted medical, there was the on-site accident medical director, examiner, whatever, someone who sent the image of the report of his notes to a friend, and then the friend posted the screenshot online, left his name. Like, that is a violation. I get it's not HIPAA, but it's a massive ethical violation and morals and things like that. No. Then there's the people claiming to be a deputy who's on the scene texting about it. Like, no, stupid, so stupid, so frustrating in every way. People need to be better than that, especially if you claim to be a journalist. Ted, I owe you $70 for how hard you gassed up UFC 5. So, I don't want to say I gassed it up. It is better than UFC 4. And that's what I said from day one. It was better than, from everything I saw when I got the gameplay that I showed everybody, it looked better than UFC 4. I enjoyed it better than UFC 4. It doesn't mean it didn't lose my interest after a month. The biggest thing is, but I love you too. The biggest thing is career mode was awful. I don't know what they can do to make it different, but there's just not enough there to really like grab you and like keep you in, you know? Do you think Sony will optimize Firewalk Studios team? What's the future for Firewalk? I don't want to speculate really, Saigon, on that, but at the same time, it's not good. I have a feeling they're not going to make any major changes to the team yet. They're going to give them a chance to kind of come up with a plan of action on what to do. But I think within 90 days, we're going to hear something. By the end of the year, we're going to hear something. And I have a feeling, my hope is that people get moved around. But I have a feeling Firewalk is going to be another one of these companies. We have over 130 companies, 11,800 layoffs. I have a feeling they're going to be another one. I hate it, but I have a feeling they're going to be another one of those companies, and I feel for them. Because developers and artists are going to be punished for the decisions of executives and marketers. The developers and artists are making what they're told to make. And the people who did, the game directors and things like that, are the ones making these calls. I don't know what the hell is going to happen. But I feel so bad for that team. I feel so bad for them. So bad. Any top spin news? No. They're going to come out with slow rolls of updates, but it didn't do well. It did not do well. I mean, granted, you can't... It did better on console than it did on PC. But it had a peak of just under 4,000 people on PC. It had a 24-hour peak during U.S. Open time, a 24-hour peak of under 500 players. Still way more than Concord, though. I don't want to keep beating that dead horse, sorry. 208 players on right now, so it's doing okay. It's doing a lot better on console, but it hasn't done what they were hoping. I don't think Le Mans Ultimate gets to console either. Brian Mazik says Mike Tyson. I've heard a lot about Mike Tyson. I don't know about Jake Paul. But I've heard a lot of rumblings with Tyson. What I would not be surprised to see is them to announce a deal with the two ahead of their eventual, if that happens, fight. Because that's a joke. An absolute joke. But I could see it happening. 100%. I could see it happening. Because I mean, right now they have what, like my biggest problem with the Undisputed roster though is they have too many old names. Like you got Fury, Usyk, Wilder, but you don't have like, though there's not really many names, I guess. Not really many names. This month is going to be huge, James. It's going to be absolutely huge. All right. What more questions do we have here? Let's see. I have reached out to ask about updates if there's any news that, even if it's under embargo, and I haven't heard back. They are so focused, I'm not surprised I haven't heard back. But I'm not really surprised. What do we have? What do we have? What do we have? What do we have? Got the top spin, college, Madden, undisputed, NHL. There's no more questions. We're going to wrap up this week's show momentarily. Before that, I want to thank everybody who's tuned in. We're just doing it on Twitch and YouTube tonight. Make sure you are following me on those platforms at Mike Straw Media. On social media, follow me at Mike Straw Media on Threads. Follow me at Mike Straw Media on Blue Sky if you're there. I'm going to try, probably leaning towards Threads, to be on one or the two. There's a good chance. I want to build up enough of everybody getting over there before I leave Twitter. Because Twitter's a cesspool. It's a joke. It's run by a popcorn fart. It's an absolute mess of a situation, and I don't want to be part of it. That's kind of where I'm at right about now. Kind of where I'm at. But I'm going to rest because I'm hoping to beat off the rest of this illness so I can come back fully strong for a full hour show next week. Maybe a stream Thursday during the day or Friday during the day. One of these days. Maybe more likely Friday I'll try to do. But in the meantime, again, Mike Straw Media on all social media platforms, at Insider Gaming IG on Twitter, insider-gaming.com for the latest in gaming news, twsn.net for all the sports coverage and opinions and columns you need to know. Until next time, take care of one another. Thank you for tuning in. I love you all. I'm out.